Hi everybody, hey, it's DJ. Today we have a safety training that we have to do. We've got a couple of them coming up, so there'll be one for this week, next week, and the following week. And but these are very important. They're important to get through. And so today we'll start with the first one. And the first one is on self-advocacy. And basically, self-advocacy is just like it says. It's to advocate for yourself. Now, what does it mean to advocate? Well, to advocate means to take it upon yourself to speak up if something's going on in your life. If somebody's treating you wrong, if somebody's treating someone else wrong, you need to advocate for yourself and advocate for others to say, I don't like that. Or if your rights are being violated, which we'll go over later in this video. But you need to learn to speak up for yourself. It's very, very important. Sometimes it's difficult to do, but the more we practice, and some of the things we'll go over today with the props and everything we have, will really help get us to a point where we can advocate for ourselves. To know when it's appropriate to advocate for ourselves, and when it's not as needed. But we'll go over each of these. So there's some supplemental material, which just means material that is good for you to watch to kind of bring all this together. So what I'm saying is one thing, but I would like you to watch. I'm going to send you 2 links to 2 different videos. I think they're both YouTube videos, and you can watch them when you want. I'm going to suggest when you should watch it, but then if you don't want to watch it, then you can watch it at the very end of this, or you can watch it right when I give it to you. But it's really just to kind of bring all of this together. And so the first one would be on self-advocacy and self-determination. So the video will explain all of that and how to self-advocate and determine your self-advocacy. So the first part of this is an important part of self-advocacy is dignity and respect. So what is dignity? How do we go about life holding ourselves up to this level of dignity? Dignity is when you respect yourself, when you have confidence in yourself and what you're doing, and then what you're doing is right. People might have different ideas of how to do things, but if your way seems just as good and it works just as well, have confidence in that. Be strong in your convictions. It's a good thing. You don't need to be rude to anybody else, but it is good to say, no, I see your way, but I'm confident that my way will work too. And we can bring things together. And that's really what life is about, is to learn to bring things together, because no one person is right about everything. That would take all the mystery out of life. So it's better to actually come together, meeting of the minds, and figure out what is best. And when you're proud of what you can do, if you learn a skill, you should be proud. And a lot of you have wonderful skills, and all of us have different sets of skills. So be proud in what you do. And then also part of dignity is when other people admire and treat you with respect. Treat me with respect. Treat everyone with respect. That is part of dignity. Because I'm sure there's lots of qualities that everybody admires in other people. But it's also acknowledging to other people that you really enjoy how they've taught you things. And also wanting that back. If you do something well, I hope people let you know that you've done an amazing job. That is a good thing. But you should do it the same for other people. That's dignity for others as well. Now, how do you know when you're being respected? When it's people treat you like you're important, because you are important. When people treat you and it seems as though they don't feel as though that you're really important, that can really be a blow to your self-esteem. But again, it's that recognition when people are. And if somebody's not treating you or respecting you as though you're important and you deserve to be respected. This is why we have to get into this is why self-advocacy is a really good thing. Because then that hits the point where you need to start to advocate for yourself because you're being disrespected. But again, how do you advocate for yourself? Because not everyone's going to be there all the time to help you out with this. It's something that you need to learn to do for yourself. But there are others around you that do respect you. Never forget that. When people pay attention to you is when you know you're respected. Like when we stand up in our council meetings and people listen. Sometimes they don't listen. But there's a majority of people that do. And know that that is a huge sign of respect. They want to hear from you. When they clap for you, when they say, good job, we love what you just said, that is a huge sign of respect. And when people listen to me and look me in the eye, that is very important. When it's a serious thing, you should always look somebody in the eyes. But in some cultures, just so you know, looking people in the eye is actually disrespectful. But here in the U.S., it's pretty much a sign of respect that you're actually paying attention and listening. If it's not something you want to do, then you have to make sure that to feel respected and to respect other people, what you should do is make sure that you're actually actively engaged in the conversation. If you don't feel like looking somebody in the eye, for me, that's not a huge problem. But if you're not looking them in the eye because you're not paying attention, then that's a lack of respect. Then you kind of have to rethink things. Maybe you should look people in the eyes to take things seriously. But sometimes it can be intimidating. As long as you're listening and you're conversing back and forth, I think that's a very important thing. People don't interrupt you when you're talking. That is a huge thing. If somebody's not going to really listen to you while you're talking, that is them not respecting what you have to say. And so maybe, we go about this by saying, I'm done with this conversation then for now. If you're going to listen to what I have to say, we can continue. If we're not going to continue, or if you're going to continue not listening to me, then maybe this conversation's over. Again, that's self-respect. Pardon me, I had a little burp. People don't try to finish your sentences when people think they know what you're going to say next. I'll admit I have a huge problem with this. Sometimes I do that. Something I'm working on. But it is. I don't know what's going on inside your mind, and sometimes we all guess. It is something that people do. But it's probably not the best thing. It's best to listen for what they have to say. Because sometimes people say something like, I misjudged that completely, and I'm going way out on left field from what I was thinking. And I have to bring myself all the way back. It's best to listen to someone. It's best to hear what they have to say about themselves because they're the only ones who can know. And again, that's a sign of respect that people are going to listen to you. And then also that people care about what you think. See, all of us think different things. We all have different attitudes towards life, be it politics, be it religion, be it all the difficult subjects, but even the smallest subjects. We're all going to have our own points of view. And we need to care about what other people think in order for people to care about what you think. But when you can tell somebody doesn't care about what you think, I'm not saying it's best not to listen to them. But that's when you need to advocate for yourself and ask somebody to hold on, like, I really want you to hear what I have to say. And do it respectfully, because again, this is about respect. All of these things apply to others just as though they apply to you. So there's another video that I'm going to send you. It's called Think, Plan, Do. Again, right now you could stop this for a bit, pause it, and I'll send you out the link, and you can watch that now. But again, you can watch this at the beginning, or you can watch it at the very end, in the middle, whenever it makes sense to you. Because, all of us learn differently, and we like to see things differently. And I'm always here to answer your questions. So like I said, you can pause it or anything like that and watch the videos. But I do think, again, they help supplement, kind of bring everything together, which is all supplement means. It's just additional information that helps guide us so that we're all kind of on the same page. All right. Okay, so we're going to go right to this now. So I've kind of gone over self-advocacy. One thing that is brought up, that, you know, there are other things you can look up if you want more information. I can help you with it. It's on bullying and what is bullying. And that is, you know, when you feel bullied or if you're bullying and somebody else feels you're being a bully. And you need, and you have any questions, please ask me. And I can give you supplemental information. I can give you my own personal opinion. I can also find things that it's, you know, because there's all sorts of different types of bullying. There's straightforward bullying when it comes to verbalizing it. There's physical bullying, which is probably the worst kind, but, you know, really bullying of all sorts is terrible. Even when it's verbal or emotional, people can live with that a lot longer sometimes than, say, a bruise or something like that you can physically see. Some people emotionally and psychologically take things in, and it can live with them for a long time. There's PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, which people can get from bullying. There's cyberbullying, people bullying you online. And I've talked to a lot of different people about this in our program. When it comes to even, say, people at program that you feel might be bullying them, you do need to go to somebody like me, your program manager, or, you know, the program coordinator, or some of the PCAs, the program coordinator assistants, to get to the bottom of it, to figure out how it can stop. Because sometimes it feels like an impossible challenge to complete by yourself. And, you know, cyberbullying kind of, it can create a huge chain of all sorts of different kinds. It's never going to be physical because it's cyber, but it can really affect a lot of different emotions inside you. And it's important that you don't hold that in. And it's also important that you don't do that to anyone. You know, if you're going to say things to somebody online, and again, a lot of times it's just between two people, but when it becomes a bigger thing and it really starts to hurt, then you really do need to bring other people in. And there's a lot on cyberbullying that I could help you with, that I could come up with different ideas. And I would definitely recommend that you look things up on your own. But I'm always here to help. Your family's always there to help. And we will get to the bottom of anything like that. But again, you have to advocate for yourself. If you don't say anything, then we don't know anything. But it's up to you to say something, to be heard. That's the most important thing. Okay, so now we're going to go through this. And it is good stuff. We're going to go through it, and then I'm going to, you know, leave it up to you at the very end. If you have questions for me after you've watched this video, then you can, you know, of course, ask those questions anytime. Okay. First thing is speaking up for yourself, self-advocacy. Oh, put it the wrong way. Sorry. I'll grab two, that should be fine. That says, what is self-advocacy? Self-advocacy is knowing your rights and responsibilities, making your own choices and decisions, and the big one, speaking up for yourself. Now, I'm going to go over your rights real fast so that you know what your rights are, especially under the Lanterman Act. What are your rights? Because these are important things to know. They're posted all over program. We have them in our vehicles. You can have them on your phone. Staff can find them at any time. It's kind of a beautiful thing that we have access to all sorts of information. But let's go over what your rights are, especially under the Lanterman Act. See? Yeah. So, the Lanterman Act protects the rights of people with developmental disabilities by mandating rights including services that protect liberty. That's you being able to go out and experience life the way everyone else experiences life. Everyone. We all deserve liberty. You know, it's arbitrary when we try to put something on, oh, well, maybe, this, we don't need to really worry about that group. No. We need to care about everyone. Provided in the least restrictive, most integrated way. Least restrictive is not taking rights away. We don't want to restrict anyone. And most integrated, that just means everyone. We want to integrate. We don't want to segregate. We want to say, oh, well, you should be over here because we don't understand. No, we should integrate. You have the right to dignity, privacy, and humane care. And privacy is very important. You have a right to privacy. Even if you're living with your parents, if you're living in a care home, you have the right to privacy. Dignity, definitely. And humane care. You have the right to treatment services and support in natural community settings to the greatest extent possible. You have the right to participation in an appropriate program of publicly supported education regardless of the degree of disability. So all of you have the right to choose what program you want to go to. Not always will we get into the same programs, but you have the choice, and there are many out there. And a lot of them are really geared towards what is best for your independence, because that's what everyone wants, is independence. And the best way to achieve it. That's what we're looking for. You have the right to prompt medical care and treatment. That seems pretty obvious, but sadly sometimes it isn't. So if you're hurt anything like that, you deserve the right to go get that taken care of. You have the right to freedom of religion and conscience and freedom to practice religion. And of course you have that. You also have the right to not practice a religion. You also have the right to not have people push their religious beliefs on you. So you have the right to religion if you want. You also have the right to not have religion in your life if you want. But it's your choice. And either way, nobody should put you down for your choice. If it's something you can't talk about respectfully, then it's best to avoid the subject. But you have the right to it. You have the right to it. You have the right to social interaction and participation in community activities, which is pretty much all Inroads does, but so do all the other programs. They have the right to get out and participate in community activities, be it baseball games that we go to, be it barbecues, be it fun functions, be it anything that's outside in the community. We have the right to be there. We'll always have that. Everyone has the right to be there. You have the right to physical exercise and recreation. And this is a good thing. We got to make sure we take care of ourselves. A lot of our goals hinge on this. You have a right to a freedom from harm, including unnecessary physical restraints, isolation, excessive medication, abuse, or neglect. Unfortunately, this happens a lot of places. But again, this is self-advocacy. You have the right to not have harm, to not be physically restrained when you don't want to. If you feel like you're being over-medicated, you need to talk to somebody. And definitely abuse or neglect. If you're not getting what you need, you really need to talk to somebody so that we can find the services for you to help you with this. You have the right for freedom from hazardous procedures. And hazardous procedures could be, like lobotomies or shock therapy. These are hazardous. These are not good for you. They're not good for anyone. You have the right to say no. I don't need that. I don't want that. And it doesn't matter what the doctor says. Even if they're trying to convince you overall that this is the best thing for you, you always have the right to say, I don't think so. This is my body. This is my mind. I'm not going to do that. And you have right to the choices in your own life, including where and whom we choose to live, relationships with people in the community, friends, how to spend time, including education, employment, and leisure, just what you want to do for fun, the pursuit of one's chosen personal future, and the planning and implementation of a plan that fits the needs and desires of you. These are what ISPs are for. You have the right to that. And you have the right to say whatever you need during those ISP meetings, to find out what is best and how we can best, and how like our program can best implement what we can do, how your case manager can help, because that's what we're here for, and that's what we want. We want you to be independent. We want you to be happy. We want your goals to be something that are good and healthy for you. And you have the right to the opportunity to make decisions and have information to understand, to help make informed choices. And that basically means you have the right to question, which is a great right, because I do it all the time. And you should question. If something doesn't seem right, you have the right to ask another question, like, yeah, I'm not so sure about that one. Just because people say something, it doesn't necessarily mean they're right. Even me, but the thing is that we're all figuring out life together. I've gone through lots of education courses. I've done things that I want to expand, but it doesn't mean I'm right about everything. It doesn't mean I'm anywhere near right about everything. And the thing is that the minute you know, or that person doesn't have an answer, explore it together. I want to figure this out. I want to know the real answer to this. But those are your rights under the Lanterman Act. You have all those rights, and they're wonderful. And again, if you ever have any questions about them, we can supply you what your rights are and help you make sure that you hold down your rights. And you should advocate for those rights. Always. Always. All right, next part. So it says here, speaking up for yourself makes you stronger. Making choices helps you know what you want. Making your own choices gives you control over your life. So when it comes down to it, making choices helps you know what you want. That's good for staff. That's good for us. Because I need to know what you want. Otherwise, how can I help you? Or if you're not expressing it, how are you helping yourself? We want to know. Like, I want everybody to be happy. Making your own choices gives you control over your life. So when you make a choice to do something and you accomplish it, you're going to get a great sense of self-worth. As you made this choice, you accomplished it, and now the world opens up even more. So let's go with that. Grab two again. Seem to be going two at a time. Okay. Learn more about speaking up for yourself. To learn more about speaking up for yourself, make choices and decisions for yourself every day. Like when you get up or when to go to bed at night. Okay, that is important. When you get up and when you go to bed. I think more importantly for most people that I know in the program is when you go to bed. Because you know what? A lot of people at the program are pretty young. One day you're going to hit a point where you're not so young. And if you get yourself in a weird routine of going to bed at really late times at night, eventually it'll start taking a toll. Believe me, I know. Because I'm a night owl, but I become much more of a day bird, I guess. I don't know. But it's best to figure out what's best for your body and for your body to function. And how do you get through the day the best that you can. When to get a haircut. This is something that you need to decide. Say, hey, my hair is getting long. See, I don't really worry about that one. But other people, when you do, if you want your hair to be short, it's up to you to decide when to get a haircut. When to eat dinner. What's the best time? There are some statistics that show that if you eat dinner you should have a couple of hours, maybe 2 hours, I think, to digest that food, to make sure it goes down. Otherwise, what happens is when you fall asleep, your body kind of falls asleep and it doesn't digest it as well, and it turns it into fat. And that's just because you haven't let your body's active when you're awake, but it really kind of goes into a hibernation sort of stage when you sleep. So it's best to, figure out a good time for dinner that you're still going to be up, maybe still be a little bit active, burn off some of those calories, but retain some of the energy for the next day. What clothes to wear? That's up to you. Again, if you don't like the clothes you have, talk to your family about it, talk to people about it. If you don't know exactly how to color scheme, which I can't do, I ask my wife a lot of times for help with that. But ask. Say what colors go together, what colors clash, anything. But again, it's up to you. If you want them to clash, let them clash. Feel free. Let your clash flag fly. What shampoo or conditioner to buy? Again, up to you. If you have dandruff, things like that, you might want to use something that has something to help prevent that. But again, it's up to you. What do you like? What do you like the smell of? Go out and check those things out. And what to do for fun. Again, this has to happen in your personal life as well as in program life. Because most of the time we're at program, it's more of a job. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We have some free days, but most of the time it's Meals on Wheels. We need to work. We need to make money. We need to do recycling so that we have days that we can have fun days. But overall, this is supposed to be a job. This is preparing you for independence in the outside world. So when it comes to what do you want to do for fun, if it comes to home and you're not communicating what do you want to do for fun, nobody's going to know. So you have to advocate for yourself. Say, I would like to go do this. I would like to go do that. Because that's your right. All right, next page. To learn more about self-advocacy. Work with decision makers. Help an agent decide which staff to hire. If you're working with the staff, even if it's me and I'm frustrating you, please come to me first. But if nothing changes, you need to work that out. And tell people, say, you know what? We need to hire this population of people. I feel comfortable with this population of people. I would like to see more of this, or I'd like to see more of that. But you need to work with your agencies, work with your case managers, work with the regional center. They are a great resource for things. How well staff are doing their jobs. If you have a bad review for staff, that's fine. If you don't like how something's going, it's fine for you to say something. You need to advocate that. Say, this staff has said this to me, this staff is not doing well this way, and it's really affecting me. The only way we know is if you advocate and say something. On the flip side of that, I'd also like you to say, when things are going really well, to mention the things that are going well. Say, this staff did this, and I really liked it. I wish more staff would do things like this. But you have to work within the system in order to change the system and in order to change things for yourself. Be on a board of directors. Join a local People First chapter. And maybe even lead your own IPP meeting. So when it comes to the ISPs or IPPs, you can do it. That is something that you can do on your own. You can say, I want to run this. What I would do is I'd break down what you've done during the year, but the rest of it could be you. Or I could have you just get all the information ready to go and have each of you just be like, boom. So this is what I did. This is what I didn't do. But this is what I want. Now that is ultimate self-advocacy. Don't have us do it. You do it. That would be fantastic. I'll help you with anything that you want. You just got to let me know. But that is, man, to have control over something like that would be amazing. And you do have the opportunity to have control over So here's one. Speaking up for yourself means making the biggest choices and decisions in your life, like where you'll live, who you will live with, where you will work, who you want to help when you need it, what you want to do in the future, and living the life you want. These are all important things. If you're not happy about where you live, who you live with, how things are going, I strongly urge you to express that to us. I strongly urge you to say, I would like a change, but be ready for that change. Be ready for it and give it time. It's not easy to move out of the house you've known your whole life. It's not. It takes some adjustment, but you can do it. Pardon me. It's allergies. It's allergies. Let's see how I coughed into my arm. That's what we should be doing right now. Anyway, and also where you're going to work. What do you want to do? Think about what you think you're good at, what you're willing to do. A lot of people I've heard say that they don't want to like clean up messes or things like that. A lot of people say they don't want to, I don't know, like have any, like get your hands dirty. But the thing is if it's your first job, you start at the bottom. You work your way up. But what are you willing to work your way up to? Because ultimately, if you really like it, you won't mind doing any of the dirtier stuff. You'll be like, oh, but it's cool, because that's not the only thing you're going to do all day. You're going to be able to do this, you're going to be able to do that. You're going to be like, oh, cool. Like if you want to work with animals, you're like, I got to work with animals. You got to clean the pens. But I got to work with animals today. If you want to work with kids, kids cry all the time. Man, this kid was crying and everything like that. But then at some point it might be, you know what? Eventually the kid was happy. I worked with him. And then they were smiling and happy the rest of the day. And now they trust me. And that's fulfilling. But you have to figure out, what do you want to do to make your life happy? But you have to think about these things. They're important. Very important. What will change if you speak up for yourself more? You'll become more independent. This is what we want, independence. Being independent means doing more things for yourself, having more choices, making more decisions. You also get better at making good choices and decisions, staying healthy and safe. And that's what, ultimately we all want for ourselves. Is eventually I want all of you to be able to live on your own. Maybe find an SO, which is my friend's way of saying significant other. But, finding somebody you want to spend the rest of your life with. And maybe not. Maybe that's not for you. Either, not for me to judge. But again, making your own decisions, having your own choices. And saying, this is how I do want to live my life. And then even being willing to make those mistakes where you're like, okay, maybe that wasn't the best one. So now I'm going to have to change that choice up. And then you'll start to make better choices. And say, oh, yeah, this is better. I like this better. It's up to you, though. And there are also self-advocacy groups. In many areas of California, there are groups of people who get information to talk about your rights, which we went over, your responsibilities, probably just as a citizen, as a person. What are you responsible for? What are you not responsible for? And speaking up for yourself. It can be very difficult for some people to speak up for yourselves, but it's very important that you do. And self-advocacy groups have different names like People First. There's consumer advisory committees. And these are all things you can research. These are all things that your case manager can research. These are all things your program manager can research if you're interested. These are things you can do. So how can you find out about these groups? So I just kind of went over that, but the Regional Center, Consumer Advisory Committee, the Area Board, ask if there are self-advocacy meetings near where you live. Again, all of these things we can help you find out. Ask if there is training to learn about self-advocacy. And what we can do is, I would never mind signing you up for a class to go and be in a self-advocacy course. I would join you in it if you would feel comfortable with it, to see how it would go. That it would be very important, because I care about you guys. All y'all, not guys, the ladies too, everyone. I care about you, and I want to make sure that everything goes well. So here's some more information. You can ask me more, but in some places there are people first meetings. People first says, where people first are disability is second. Here's what a self-advocacy group in Santa Barbara says, is that I am important. I know what I want. I will work hard to get what I want. I am responsible for the choices I make. And these are all important because it is kind of on you, again, to self-advocate. You have allies. You have people that are there to advocate with you. But you have to advocate for yourself first. And again, I love this. We are people first, our disability is second. I work for a place called Ability First, and that is what I have firmly believed since I worked there, is that we need to look at people's abilities first, everywhere. What are you able to do? What do you want to do? And our abilities define us. You know, whatever people say about people that are developmentally delayed, that might need a little bit more help than people that aren't developmentally delayed, I don't mind any of that. What I mind is that we need to focus on their abilities first. What you can do, what you like to do. But this is where self-advocacy comes into place. It's for you all to tell us, this is what I want to do. To tell yourself, this is what I want to do. And you can do it. You can do it. Whoa, almost lost the last page. So here's more information about speaking up for yourself. I can take a picture of this and send this to you. I'll hold it up to the computer screen. If you want to pause it and you can kind of take this information in. But these are good resources. Good resources for you to have. And again, I'm here to help you with any of that. But that is our first safety training. I miss y'all. Hope to see you soon. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me at any time. And I hope to see y'all very, very soon. All right. Bye, everybody.